Hey there, and welcome to the Brittany Wheeler Show. Join Brittany as she interviews incredible people whose stories will uplift you and remind you the life you long for is just ahead. Buckle up for an inspirational ride to your best life. Take it away, Britt.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Brittany Wheeler Show. So excited to have you today. And you could be listening to us via wherever you listen to podcasts, or you could be watching us on YouTube, which is really exciting. And it's a great way for us to get to connect and for you to see my guest and also get to experience really tangibly what our connection is and what we're talking about. Today's episode is really fun. I got some quality one-on-one time before we even hit recording. So yes, you should be jealous. And I'm going to introduce my guest. She's a wife, a stepmom, a dog mom, a sister, a friend, a daughter, an entrepreneur. She's a podcaster. She's such a badass. She's a leader. She's a servant heart. And she's just a really incredible human that I know you're going to learn a lot from, and you're going to feel her energy, and it's contagious. And so I would love to welcome my friend, Kendyll Travers Pierce, to the Brittany Wheeler Show.
Hi.
Hello.
I'm so excited to be here.
I'm so excited to have you here. When I was writing my list recently of like, okay, who are the types of guests that I want to have on? I was like, Kendyll. And I was like, I hope she says yes. Cause like I was like, we follow each other on Instagram and we have, we know of each other, but I was like, It's a big ask, And I was like, I hope she says yes. So I've been tickled that we've made this work.
Thank you. Me too. I'm very, very excited to be here.
It's going to be a really good episode. And what I normally transition to is a segment where, obviously we know how we know each other. Mm-hmm. And it really helps the guests to either, some of the guests that I'm interviewing now, I don't know, right? Which is awesome because they're referrals or people that my guests are saying, okay, this is an ordinary person living an extraordinary life you need to know. And so I don't have a meet cute with them. And so I really give you this opportunity to either share a story, how we met, or why you said yes to the podcast, whichever you feel like most relates to this.
Okay. I don't remember the first time we met. So I don't have a specific story about that, but we know each other through mutual business acquaintances and we've been at a lot of the same events. And your energy has always just been so genuine and sincere that I was attracted to you immediately and knew that you were someone that I loved and cared about before I ever really even knew you, I think. And so that's really... I love what we do. I love the organization and the business that we're in. And I love that it connects me with people that I would never have met otherwise. And some of those people have just become the best friends in my life. It's such a blessing.
Yeah. And it's interesting because even thinking back to, I first knew of you from just being trained and poured into by your story and your experience. And you're one of those people for me at a really young age, gosh, not young, but, in my 20s where I was like, wait a second, this woman is fiery, passionate, bold. That's me, right? So there was so much of myself that I was like, okay, Kendyll's awesome. She's great. And so I knew even before I met you that initial gravitation towards someone who's doing what I want to do in the way that I want to do it and just has so many personality traits that I had. So even before I met you in person, I was like, this girl's it.
So interesting because I think in maybe any area of whatever you're doing, you look at people in a certain light and you think oh, I couldn't do what they do, or they're successful because of X, Y, and Z, and I don't have that. And for me, it was always I can talk to people and I have a lot of energy and I'm very fun. And my deficiencies, I would look at somebody that was more poised and put together and type A, because I'm completely opposite of that, and be like, crap, I got to be more like them to be successful. And there's parts of that, you need to learn traits and disciplines and things, but I don't need to be someone else. I need to be exactly who I am, exactly who I was created to be. And that's my mission in life, is to be able to show people that you can be different than me or different than someone else and still have success in whatever you're doing.
Yeah. And when you are tapping into that, not only with yourself, but with others, there is this alignment, everything glistens and it's magical. And it's there's something that happens when you are feeling so at peace with who you are. Mm-hmm. And then you go tell people that it's okay for them to be them and to follow the passions and the things that they value.
Yeah.
I can't express that feeling because I'm feeling it in my season of life.
Yeah, completely.
And it makes just a huge difference too. And I thank you for being that leader and going before me. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And I'm excited. Honestly, this podcast, I was like, I love that we got to chat before, and I'm excited for our friendship to continue to develop in a way where we get this intimate one-on-one time, which isn't rare. You don't live near me. Like we're not necessarily connected deeply socially. So this is a gift for me to be able to sit with you. And then this is going to be a blessing and a gift for people that don't know either of us to get to hear your story, your heart, and learn from you as well in ways that I probably have. So it'll be a good episode.
It's a gift for me too. So I'm really grateful.
Thank you. It's awesome. Okay. Jumping right in. I want to know, because so let me be honest. I love that I get to per the Brittany Wheeler show, I get to stalk people and it's not unacceptable.
No,
and so I love, especially because there's so many things I wanted to really ask some quality questions and really get to know some sides of you that I don't know. And I was deep in the dive of all right, let me search these photos. Let me see these comments. What's going on? And otherwise, if I was doing that, I would be a complete stalker. And so I'm very grateful that under the guise of the Brittany Wheeler show, I'm able to stalk people. You heard it here.
Professionally.
Professionally. Yes, exactly. For the purpose of creating quality questions for your entertainment. Okay. So I want to know, and I know the audience will too. What was it like for you as a young girl? And what were the challenges that you faced that you feel have helped define who you are today?
Okay. So I'm the youngest of 4. Sister, brother, me. And my oldest sister is 8 years older than me. So we all kind of fall in that thing. We grew up very religious and very strict. But by the time that I came around at the end of all of that, things were, I wouldn't say they were lax, but I felt like I didn't get a lot of attention's not the right word. I would maybe sometimes feel a little bit lonely and lost because I was the youngest of these 4 people that were already out of the house or doing whatever. And my parents were busier in different ways. And so I grew up feeling like I was fun. I was always a good time. I was, again, very energetic, very positive. I'm naturally a very positive person. But as I start to figure out how I grew up and dig into things like that, I realized that I felt like I was alone a lot and that I wasn't, I don't know. I think I just felt lonely in ways that I didn't realize until I grew up and really tried to analyze that. So I still have all of those qualities, but I love people and I love connection and I crave that social environment to be able to, my energy feeds off of other people's energy. So I'm still very much that same little girl.
Yeah. And it just makes sense also that's not only what you attract, but that also is what you chose to pursue is careers and opportunities where you were with people. There's a reason why you do not have an isolated job where you just work for somebody else in your home. Yeah. You know what I mean? That based on just what you shared about how your upbringing was naturally because of the season of life your parents were in, it makes sense that you've chosen things in fields where it is very social and connected and, giving you an automatic community that you can then decipher through, are these people for me or not? Which, that has its own set of challenges.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I've been in the service industry. I had been in the service industry forever. I loved being a waitress. I loved that community, that camaraderie of people. And then I also managed and toured with rock bands. And that was it. I like that family dynamic. I've always put myself in a situation where the people around me feel like family and we get really deep and that those are my closest people. And that looked really different throughout my life.
Mm. I talk about this several times and I've been uncovering this and just the idea of this mosaic design of art and how, some people are totally blessed to have that really beautiful nuclear family.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. And they have, 17,000 cousins and aunts and uncles. And whatever, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But there's some of us, for me, I didn't grow up with that. And so what I love is as I represent myself as a mosaic piece, God has put people in my life intentionally for certain seasons to fill voids, to teach, to love, right? To create wholeness within this colorful design that is me. And, I just resonate with that when you were talking about, the rock band and the family and how different seasons call for different things, but it was the same. You were looking for wholeness and connection and community.
Total.
Right? And it looked different. in
Mhm.
every single season.
Yeah.
Every single
Absolutely.
season. And it was you were talking about, siblings and something I've been discovering, I'm one of 3 girls, I'm the oldest, and we've been really my youngest sister and I have really uncovered a lot. Like, there's 5 years difference between us, and how so much different things happen with different siblings. How I perceive something is different than how she perceives something based on her age. It is like it should be a case like a psychological case study, and I can only imagine with 8 years between between your
Mhm.
sister, that has to be very similar in just what she experienced versus you.
Yeah, 100%. And with the 4 of us, it's funny because we're all so different, but, like, 2 of them are a little bit more similar and 2 of us are a little bit more similar in ways, and then that's also changed. I mean, the family dynamic is just really, really wild to me to watch. Like, you can be in the same house with the same people and end up like we're like, if I showed you a picture of my family, you'd be like, wow. Like, we look alike, but, like, we're just so different.
Yeah.
2 of my siblings are, like, covered in tattoos, very punk rock, very, out there, whatever, and then the other 2 of us were very, like, no tattoos, no piercings, no nothing, you know what I mean? It's so interesting to see.
Do you find that you and your sibling that don't have tattoos, is there other similarities as well? Like, is there themes that you could see why you both don't have them or why your other 2 siblings do?
N maybe the way that we grew up, and the way my parents were different for each child.
Okay.
Because it's funny, so it's like the oldest sister and the youngest brother are a lot similar, and then the brother and me are a little bit similar in personalities, in looks, even, and it's really interesting.
That is really, really interesting. And
Mhm.
also, I think it's like, please tell me that your parents were, like, in a rock band as well, like, in there, like
No.
okay.
Nope, not at all. Nope. I mean, my sister was in a punk band for a while.
Okay.
I just really love music, and I love that deep connection. I'm not musical at all. Like, I had learned to play the piano. I could maybe carry a tune, but, like, I'm not a singer. I can't do those things. And I am fascinated by people that have that talent. So I wanted to be around it as much as possible. Like, I tell people, like, Kate Hudson and Almost Famous, like that, like Penny, like, I wanted that. Like, I wanted just to
Yeah.
be around the music and the energy because I can relate to it so much, but I can't create it in the same way.
Yeah. And I love how you found your way to fit. You're like, "Hey, I can't play, but I'll be along for the
I
ride, and I will
managed.
support you in the ways that I am very good."
I can be in charge of things. I
Yeah.
can serve you. I can make things happen behind the
Yeah.
scenes.
Yeah. I mean, maybe that's something. Maybe that's another element of, like, as you're discovering, maybe becoming, like, a part-time manager or something for some young undiscovered talents. I don't know. That, like, potentially another layer of yourself that you're like, "Hey, I can't do this
Possible.
full time, but maybe I can do this part-time."
It's
You
possible.
you have no idea. Never no idea. So, I love one of the things that I've loved to watch about your story is, coming in and getting married to Mike and having 2 sons automatically right there with you. It has
Yeah.
honestly been a gift to me to get to watch you being a mom, and for me, when watching that happen, this was over 10 years ago, and so the boys were obviously a lot younger
Yeah.
now. But it was just really cool because for me in my life and, like, where my husband is, still waiting. Like, all right, like, it's on God's time. I'm working smarter, not harder, because
Yeah.
I let him take care of it. But, that crosses my mind, right? And when I saw the way that I just saw the dynamic of your family, I was like, "Okay, this is amazing. Like, this could be a possibility." And you just do it so gracefully, just from what I've seen. And obviously,
Thank you.
families, all the things.
Yeah.
But I just have loved watching you love these boys and how much, like,
You're gonna make
if
me
I
cry.
didn't well, if I didn't know that they were your stepsons, I would think they were your children because, like, that
Mhm.
you birthed them. Not that they're not your children, but you birthed them
I know what
because
you're saying.
you just carry yourself in that way. And so I wanna know, coming into that role, obviously, how did your childhood, even prepare you and help just kinda create what you wanted to be as a mom for these boys?
So my mom wanted like 6 kids before she was 30. Like, she was like, she knew that's what she wanted. She wanted a family. My parents got married really young. They had babies right away. She had been, I think she's been pregnant 8 or 10 times. Like, she had had a lot of things happen that way. she always knew, like, she wanted a huge family. That's what she wanted. Like, the fact that she had 4 of us, she's like, "I really wanted 6." Wow, that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
I never felt like that. I loved the idea of being a mom. I never ever felt like, oh, my goal in life is to have children and raise a family. And what's really hard being a female is that I struggled with that so much because I'm like, is there something wrong with me? Everybody says you'll change your mind, you'll do whatever. And I love kids and I love babies, and my siblings have had kids and I've been around kids and my best friends have kids. Like, I've always been in that place and I'm good with them. And it wasn't about that. It was just like, I feel like my calling was more suited to help other people through that in that time frame, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Mhm.
And to be a good role model for these little people that I didn't necessarily birth. And so when I met Mike, I was only 25 and he was like 38 or something. And the boys were 9 and 6. And that was not what I planned for my life, obviously, at all. But we just fell in love and became best friends so, so fast. And I was like, oh, maybe this is the thing. Maybe God was just like, yeah, you're going to have kids. It's going to look differently.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the boys were 9 and 6. Now they're 27 and 24. And it's just been so amazing. And so I think, growing up, I love the idea of a family and what that looks like. And then things changed. My parents got divorced when I was 21.
Mm.
And I was like, I didn't see that coming. And then all this stuff happens. But meeting the kids and being able to have this relationship with them and also with their mother. And we had to work really hard on it. I know a lot of people don't have the benefit of having blended families where there's like ease in that blending.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's always easy or was always easy. And I'm not saying that it was like perfect, but I'm proud of us. We did a really great job at putting the kids first and making that the focus. Like, it wasn't about us or our egos. It was about what is best for them, even if it makes me uncomfortable in a way. Like, that's what we're going to do. We just really decided that very early on. And it's made all the difference. I mean, it's made all the difference. We're all so close.
Yeah. And it's super special too, because like, just to be the right person for Mike to come in to not only respect the relationship he has, right, in
Mhm.
that dynamic, but also to be okay with finding your own, right? And
Mhm.
like I think sometimes it can go poorly because either the other person, whether it's, husband or wife, takes the identity of the person, right?
Mhm.
Or feels like they don't even wanna try to figure out what that looks like on their own for fear of confrontation, things like that. And,
Yeah.
I was a product of divorce, 3 times, my dad and then my mom and then my dad again.
Mhm.
And the difference between my stepdad and my stepmom was, well, a lot of things. My stepdad was an
Same.
alcoholic. So, very different things. But with my stepmom, there was this sense of like, and she's still in my life, even though my dad is not. And so she's like a Cinderella story stepmom, like
Mhm.
opposite, right? Like, she's totally all about me and my sisters and what we're doing. And but it was kind of like what you're saying with your own story, was that my stepmom was not willing to stand behind my dad's identity in that.
Mhm.
She came alongside, and we were able to make a relationship with her on our own, and we were introduced to her in our 20s. And so that's obviously like a very different way than even when you're
Yeah.
younger. It's all different dynamics. But I give her props. And honestly, nothing is funnier, because you'll understand this in a personal way. Like, my mom and my stepmom actually still have their Facebook friends. And my dad is literally not even in the picture
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
And so it's such a hero for stepmom story out there of like, there's great ones, I promise. There's ones that are doing it, that are advocating, that are loving well, and like
Mhm.
intentionally working to find commonalities and not the differences, right?
Yeah.
And it was like my stepmom was all about us. And I think, to what you just shared, like, that's it. You were all about the boys,
Yep.
and it didn't matter about, the arguments, the disagreements, all of that. It was about, what do the boys need?
Yeah.
And whoever's out there listening that potentially is a step parent, like, like, listen to Kendall's story. She's telling you, like, it is possible. You can have a really great experience. But it's hard. It's really
Mhm.
hard. And
For
it's a
sure.
challenge.
For sure.
Yeah, and what you shared even about coming into motherhood, I think there's gonna be women listening to this podcast who feel the same. We're
Mhm.
in this really, like, beautiful, strange space in time as it relates to women and motherhood and identity and jobs and, thank you for running so everybody else could walk. We appreciate it. And
Well,
so because you did, like
and let me add to that too, because because I was so much younger than Mike when we met, he always left space for me to decide to want to have our own biological children.
wow.
Always. Like, I'm 43. If I walked in the other room right now and was like, let's have a baby, he would be like, okay. Necessarily what he wants in this stage in his life. But because I knew from day one that if I decided that, it gave me so much grace it was my decision. It was my decision that, like, this is what I want. I don't want to do it this other way. And that has been honestly a game changer, really. Like, just and not that he shouldn't have done that, by the way. Like, I'm not like giving him credit for doing something he should have done, but like, it was just very open, very talked about, always on the table if I changed my mind. And that was very freeing and allowed me to own who I was at every stage of this process.
And oh gosh. And also like, it doesn't always happen that way for a
Yeah.
variety of reasons, but the fact that you could come in and love these boys well and understand them and get to learn them with the freedom of saying, okay, I have no capacity, right, to try and
Mhm.
have our own children. But you
Mhm.
know in the back of your mind that you were probably questioning, am I? Am I not? I'm not sure. Right. And then to still have that space where there wasn't pressure either way
Yep.
from him, but
Yep.
like, gosh, like I feel free. This is not even my life. And I feel freedom just from you sharing.
Honestly, it was so freeing because, again, it allowed me that space we'd have conversations. There were periods of times where I'm like, I don't know, I'm kind of thinking about it. What would that look like? And he just held that space for me. And that was everything I needed, was to be able to, because it had to be my decision,
Yeah.
right? It couldn't be like, oh, people think I should do this, or people think I should do this, or we should do, like, it was like, how do I feel and what do I want? And he just always allowed the space for the conversation, for the questioning, for the whatever, which allowed me to have that freedom to be very resolute in, like, okay, no, I'm on this path. This is what is best for me.
Gosh, and like, yeah, I'm just so excited for you. Even though you passed that season of life, just to be like,
Yeah.
because again, I don't know, it makes it just makes your love story with Mike and the boys so much sweeter,
It's great.
right? That like it just there's no negative, shadowing or energy that's coming
Mm-mm.
over it. It's
No,
just
there's really
just
not.
beautiful. Have you watched, because what you were sharing, I literally watched on Netflix A Love Story Copenhagen,
I don't think
or it's
so.
a Copenhagen Love Story. I'll send it to you. Okay.
Okay.
It is incredible. It was like I was like, I am a sucker for, different languages, as my friend will say, sub over dub. So much rather have subtitles than dubbing in English.
Well, I cannot, if they're dubbing it and I can tell that's not the actors' voices, I cannot watch it. I'm the same. I would much
Sub
rather watch it in subtitles. Yes.
I'm gonna get a sticker for the podcast that'll say
Sub
sub
over
over
dub.
dub. Because it's
Good.
so
Yeah.
true. Like, just also respect it. I think there's a whole other conversation, but like
Yeah.
respect the naturalness of their tongue and what they're saying. And there's so many languages that sound better than English. And so, anyways, this story it's about this woman who gets introduced. She's like, Kendall, I feel like maybe somebody took I'm gonna cry. This is like so cool. That somebody maybe took your life and wrote a movie on it, because she is this author and she's this like vibrant young person that's just like living her life and trying to figure it out and trying to find a husband and dating all things. And she's introduced through a mutual friend, this man who's older, and goes through the process of like obviously falling in love. And she ends up finding out he has two children, and it's their love story
Yeah.
amongst that, but also what it looked like to love well and also love through like trying to have their own children. You will love it. It is,
Oh, I can't wait.
you and Mike should watch it, and then just I cried. It was
I
so
will.
emotional. It was beautiful. Like, wear
We
your
watch
ass mom sweatpants. Like,
we watch a lot of TV, so we're always looking for something new.
yes. And I was genuinely impressed at the acting and the heart of the story. And
Mhm.
I just think for me, what I'm excited to hear your feedback because I just took so much of like, what a great representation of what it means to be in a relationship with
Mm,
someone, loving them despite, right? Loving well. And you
mhm,
don't get that often in
mhm.
television or movies. And
Yeah.
so that stood out to me in general, but I think that you'll really enjoy
So that's good.
yeah, yeah. At home sweatpants, like comfy, just
Always.
socks and tissues, glass of wine. Yeah, exactly. Like that absolutely has to be the vibe. And again, like, you know, as we were just talking about this juxtaposition you're in of like, do I not? I can only imagine that you were also navigating outside of being a mom and outside of being a wife, like just entering into a season of life that you were longing for, that you were desiring. And I would just love to know because everyone's getting a history of you from childhood and just some of your own experiences. Like, at what point did you know that the life you were creating was far from the life you were desiring? Like, what was that moment like?
Like, do you mean that in at the opposite? Okay, when you say like far from what you were desiring, like bigger?
Yeah, like
Okay.
I feel like, and I think Mike happened around that
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so like when did you know, and what did that look like? How did that play out?
So I think okay, I'm not someone, as I've already said, I'm not type A in any way. And so I really never thought very far ahead in my life. And it wasn't until I started my network marketing business that somebody had said, like, okay, if you keep doing what you're doing, we'll be in 5 years. And I was like, what? People look 5 years ahead? Like that never ever crossed my mind. And so when I was introduced to this business, and I had 3 other jobs at the time, and then I decided to start doing this because I just, like, saw that it could be more than what I was doing. I saw there was a potential to not always be struggling, like, coming from a working class family, what Mike had was working 80 hours a week when I met him, like, just thinking about, "This is a person that I love and I wanna spend so much time with. How can we make this happen?" And obviously it didn't come in the package that I thought because I think maybe it's very common as a female to be like, "Oh, you're going to grow up, you're going to meet somebody, you're going to get married, you're going to have great jobs and you're going to college, you're going to have great jobs and then you're going to have kids. It's going to all this be this whole like da 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 da." Da.
Yeah.
And mine was like completely different, but I loved each phase of seeing where I was going. And I loved that I realized I didn't have to follow the path or pursue what everybody my entire life had been telling me because I had always had people saying, you should do this. These are your strengths. These are your weaknesses. You should do this. You should do this. You should do this. And most of it's well intentioned, but I really had a hard time being my own person because of that. Like we talked about that family dynamic. I always wanted someone else to tell me what to do, to tell me what the right thing to do was, to tell me which next step to take. I'm an excellent follower. That's why like I was good at this business. I was like, tell me exactly what to do.
I'll do it.
I can make it happen. And when it started to be like, okay, life is not like that. You can't have someone else make all your decisions for you. I really had to learn to trust my gut and my intuition, and when I follow it, it's always right. And when I don't follow it, I can always see, oh, well, I knew this wasn't going to be the right thing, but I did it anyway. And I can look back at it like that. So it was sort of me really learning to grow up and come into my own and trust myself and not be looking at everybody else and what they're doing and asking all their opinions and looking for guidance. Like I had to know in my heart when I was making a decision that it was the right thing. And that doesn't mean you don't ask for guidance, but you got to trust your gut.
Yeah.
And that's what I kind of had to do
Yeah.
in taking that leap of faith and stepping away from these other things and just sort of going through that.
Do you think that saying yes to our network marketing business was the catalyst to just some really significant personal changes, some growth, some
100%. Like I couldn't scream that from the rooftops more. This business has changed who I am at my core because it really taught me to focus, to trust myself, to learn more, to grow more, to want to be a better person, not to be different, but to be a better version of myself. It helped in our marriage. It helped in dealing with the kids and their mom. It helped in every single area of my life because you are pushed towards personal growth. And when you're dealing with something that's hard, if you are not currently growing in some other way, you're going to just fall back to those default things that came from your childhood and from your trauma and from the way you do everything. And I've also seen it significantly change the way that my kids act and the way that my husband acts and the way that his ex acts. Like people around me are affected by the work that I do for myself, not because I'm telling them what to do, but because they're seeing me go from one version of myself to another all the time. It has literally changed my life. I could not recommend it more. I really couldn't.
It attracts, right? Like what you're doing attracts other people and they're like, okay, what are you doing? Because we're seeing a brighter, maybe more
Yeah.
peaceful, like, especially what you're sharing about just being like, just, not sure of yourself and not trusting your gut. And all of a sudden someone's like, oh, Kendall's made 17 decisions all by herself. And so like, wait, what? Like, especially as siblings, they're like, who is it? What do you mean? I don't understand. It's so crazy.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like, especially for individuals like you and I, where we have no problem sharing our story, we have no problem, just loving on people and being outgoing in those moments and, being present. For me, it has taken something like our business and 10 years of personal growth for people to be like, oh, she wasn't just talking. Oh, she wasn't just saying the things, right? Because that is who I was before, right? I was the girl that could talk the talk. And as our sweet friend Danielle says, let your talk, walk. Oh my gosh, whatever the saying is.
I know.
Let your walk louder than your talk.
Yes.
My gosh. I say it all the time. It should come easily to me.
Yeah. I mean, it's like action over, like just your words. It's action. It's like what, like you can say, oh, I want to do this thing, or I'm going to be this good person or whatever. It's like, well, what are you doing in those other times? How are you showing up that way?
Yeah.
Are you just saying you're going to do this thing? Or are you like actually being this person?
Yeah. And then also one of the things that's changed my life in general as I grow, whether it's related to our network marketing business or not, it's knowing what it means to surround yourself with people that are either where you want to be or are willing to work alongside you at that level. Because I really think, like you were saying something earlier and it like hit me of like, no wonder people have such a hard time changing, right? Because they surround themselves with the people that aren't willing to do what they don't want to do. Or they surround themselves with the people that they love, because the people that we love, their thoughts are filled with love and coated with fear. I say that often on the podcast.
That's really funny.
Isn't it? It's so good. It's so filled with love, coated with fear, right? And that's what you get, right? It's like a chocolate almond. Like that's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's why I think people don't have sustainable actions. It's not because they're not capable of it. It's because the person that didn't think they could is the first person they go to ask for help. Instead of surrounding themselves with the people that may not know them, may not understand, but they have this one common theme. And the common things are both working towards this goal, whether it's a workout class, right? Or a personal growth class or a financial growth class, whatever it is. And that is what has revolutionized my life, because I look for in every single angle. I love my family. I love my friends. There are a lot of them I will not ask for guidance or help because they are not where I want to be or I want to go. And that could have been a lot harder for me to learn in my 30s if I didn't have the understanding in my 20s when I was introduced to a community of people that were kind of being like, this is why we do that. This is why we surround ourselves with those people and why you shouldn't ask this person. Like I love my family, right? But if I ask my mom if I want to do this, she's never been where I'm desiring to go. So her feedback will be genuine and real, but it won't be educated. It won't necessarily be empowering or instilling of what I need to hear because she just doesn't have the experience in it. So this is not me at all saying that our friends and family are not going to guide us. It's just like, I genuinely think that's why doing hard things is so hard for people, because on the other side of the hard is not a community of people that get what the hard is. Like, no matter what.
You also have to think about they're wanting to protect you and love you, and then they want to keep you safe. And they also have not been expanding out of their comfort zones, let's say. So like if I would go to someone and be like, oh, I'm really struggling in my business. This is really hard. Da, 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 da. They might be like, well, why are you doing that? Just quit. Go do something else. Like they don't understand all the facets of it. And also, if you're growing at a faster rate than the people around you that you love, everything is different. So you have to learn to look at that with a different lens and you outgrow things, and that's really hard. It's really hard to think that like, oh, I've had a best friend for however many years, but like her life trajectory has went one way and mine has went another. And that doesn't mean I don't still love her and can't be close with her, but that does mean that she might not be the person that I can call every day and have that same relationship with anymore because we're not in the same spot and we're not going to the same place.
Yeah.
And learning to love and accept those people, but take that step back is a valuable lesson and really hard to do. But when you do it, then like more things open up for you and you have to really look at it like that.
Yeah. And gosh, what you're saying like hits real deep because there's a sense, and I know that you know what I'm about to, like, I know you will feel what I'm about to share. There's a level when you get to a place of personal growth and of achieving and of just growth in your career and your visions, your passion, where it gets very isolating.
Mhm.
And it gets very isolating because the things that connected you to the people that have been by your side no longer connects you. And
Yeah.
so you can either sit in that isolation and be sad. I encourage it for like 24 to 48 hours,
Totally.
healthy grieving, and then go out and find, and sometimes it's going to be getting outside your comfort zone, find those men and women that you need to surround yourself that are where you are. And so,
I think it's always going to be getting yourself out of your comfort zone. That's really like it is. It is that difference. It's that, the caterpillar thought it was about to die until it became a butterfly kind of situation where like you have to do that thing that feels so uncomfortable and you have to put yourself in that space if you want more, if you know in your gut you're made for more than what you're doing, or you need to expand in some way. There always comes these changes. They're never easy, but are you committed to doing that anyway? And what does that look like?
yeah. And I just remember looking back, even just thinking as you were talking of my relationships, a lot of my closest friends and how I veered them. I was like, I want to be where they are. And now I'm looking at a lot of them and I'm like, wow, I've definitely surpassed where I even
Mhm.
thought I was gonna be where they are.
Mhm.
And not that I don't love them any less, but I'm like,
Totally.
"Okay, keep going, like, we're going to the next." And now they are looking at me
Yep.
as like, "Oh my gosh, we love this about you. We like, we're so proud of you. Like, the way you're doing this." Like, it is not a matter of envy or just bad feelings. It's like, okay, when you have friends also that are just as excited for your success as you
Mhm.
are for theirs, no matter what that is, when you are encouraged and you grow to your own potential, whether it is like surpassing them in different places or stages of
Mhm.
life or whatever that is, it's still beautiful and it can still be valuable to you as a person. And so that's what I'm experiencing. I think that a lot of people though, they keep around those individuals that don't want them to be well and to have the success and to just to be in their truest version of themselves. And so that's why a lot of people have like just hard, shattering, heartbreaking, friendships where they feel like I don't have people that support me. And it's like, well, you really should. And if you have those right people that regardless of where you at will support you, it looks very different than potentially keeping somebody around that is
Mhm.
maybe tearing you down or belittling you, or when you have something good to say, they have nothing great or excited to say it. One of the things that I don't know if you learned this, but I learned this really early on is know who needs to be excited for you about things in different areas of your life, right?
Mhm.
I think so often, again, I used to be someone who was like, I just get excited and tell everybody. And I started
Yeah.
learning like, even with this podcast, there are some awesome successes that like I could tell you and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, right?
Yeah.
And you're going to give it back to me and we're
Yeah.
going to have this moment, cry,
Yeah.
happy, whatever. But if I go tell my mom, which I love her, she knows, and she's like, that's great, Britt. And I, I get, obviously, I'm like, my mom loves me and this is awesome. And she'll watch listen to my episodes. But I think that's also something that I've learned if I could, share with anybody. It's like, just know who is that person or people that
Mhm.
understand that area of your life, whether it's your podcast, your business, your marriage, your friendship. So when you go to them, they genuinely are going to be able to understand, to give
Mhm.
you the validation or the feedback or the
Mhm.
encouragement that you need, because too often we just think everybody can be everything for us, and
Yeah,
cannot.
they can't.
They cannot at at all. At all.
We have
And
to, we
again,
have to learn to do that ourselves.
yes,
That's pretty hard.
yeah, you learn the hard way of how to not
Totally.
do it, and then you're like, "Okay, I get it now." Um, you're talking about choosing your hard. And I love, our experience with that phrase, Sweet Debbie Neal. It's where I actually got that, is from just her talking about it on her
Yeah.
podcast and being willing to talk and identify what does that mean. And so for us on the Brittany Wheeler show, choosing your hard is a crossroad. It's a moment where you are presented with multiple or one, two decisions, and you have to decide, is that decision which one is going to be best for you. Both are hard. And that's something I also stress. Like, I don't want anybody to ever think that the decision to put down the drink and go and keep drinking, that each one is easy. They're not.
Mhm.
They're both hard. But
Mhm.
which one is ultimately going to lead you to the best version of yourself? So I would love to know, and I know the audience is hooked in this conversation, and they would love to know, what is a choosing your hard moment that you have faced, or multiple? Like, what comes to mind?
So this is really interesting. This is the thing I'm most excited to talk about, which weird in different ways. So I like to set it up a little bit, and we've already talked so much about family, which is amazing. So my parents got divorced when I was in college, and both my parents eventually got remarried. And my mom remarried this man named Roy. And for lots of other reasons, in my mid 20s, when I graduated college, I moved to California for a couple years. I thought I wanted to be an actress. Did not go
You
well.
still can, Kendall. You still can.
Just it turns out it's not my thing, but
Okay.
that's
Okay.
okay. I did a bunch of random things there. I taught high school. That's like a whole nother podcast story. But when I came home from California, I moved back in with my mom, and she was dating Roy at the time, and I was 26. And when I tell you I was a brat, I was a brat. I was 23. Sorry, I was just like, having your parents get divorced when you're older gives you a whole different host of issues than when it happens when you're younger. Neither's better or worse. It's just different, right? So I was very much at the time like anti-Roy, like didn't know that didn't give him even a second, right? So we spent a couple years of me just being like, okay, he's my mom's partner, but whatever, right?
Whatever. Yeah.
And so I was staying with her, and I was waitressing. I was working at a law firm, and I was managing rock bands. And then when our business, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the name, when our business fell on my lap, I decided to do that as well. So then I have four things.
Four
I'm
things.
still living at home. I'm commuting all the time. I'm traveling all the time for the one band was like a nationally touring rock band. So I'm traveling a lot. I'm doing all these things. I start my business. I'm dating Mike. There's like all this stuff happening because I'm like 25 at this point, right? And there was one point where my business was really growing. I think I'd walked away from the law firm at this point. I was still waitressing, and I was still working with the bands, and they were getting bigger, and there was all these tour demands, right? And I'm talking very matter of factly about how I'm about to go on tour again and whatever. And he's standing in my room, and he's talking to me, and he said something to me. Well, if you go leave on tour, what's going to happen with your business and those people that you just told that you're going to teach them how to do this business? And I was like, so offended. I was so mad. I'm like,
Roy, know your place, sir. Okay.
you don't even know what you're talking about.
No experience. You're just a partner. You're not even married.
I'm like, I can do it on the road. I can do this on the road. Now, at the time, internet was not what it is now.
No.
So, like, realistically, I could absolutely not have grown my business on the road.
No.
Yes, now, no, then. But I was like, I'll just talk to the band and their people, and I'll just meet. I can do all of the above. But it really hit me, and I really sat on it, and then decided not to go on tour anymore and just focus on my business. I have children now. When I tell you that changed my life, it changed my life. It was so much the right decision in my gut And I was going to make the wrong decision because I was still really people pleasing and really thinking, well, they need me to do this. And this is my identity. And this is this thing I want to do. And him saying that to me, like, just hit me. And then I decided not to go. My business exploded. I focused on it. Like, it was absolutely the right decision. And I'm so grateful for that. And that was obviously a long time ago. I've been in this business for almost 18 years. And
You're almost a visionary. Like
I know.
how cool. Like I cannot, we need to have a party just for that. Like
I know. I
just
think so too.
so cool.
And what's so beautiful also about what I said about this personal growth is that it allowed me to really change my relationship with my mom and with him. And he unfortunately passed away in 2020. But we became so close in those years because of what I did, because of the personal growth, because of the openness I had to being a better person and seeing other perspectives. And but I mean, like, I went from like literally, I wouldn't even say his name. And I like can laugh about this now because I know he thinks it's funny too. And my mom thinks it's funny, but I like would call him dude. I like wouldn't even say his name. When Mike first met him, they like got in this really great conversation for like an hour one day. And I went straight to my room and was like so mad at him. And I remember he walked through the room and he was like, he's so nice. I don't know what to do. I can't not talk to him. So this whole evolution of my life and growing up, again, I put back to my business, but I can see that that was such a pivotal point where I was like, ah, this is such a hard decision to make. And it did everything for me. And really, really, my business exploded after that because it was the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And I'm really, really grateful for that.
Thank you, Roy, for coming in. And I just, gosh, like talk about that mosaic, right? Like talk about that you being a mosaic painting and this man being brought into your life, whether or not you wanted to admit, right, that he was in your life.
I hated it. I was such a brat.
Right. And to also to see, and you know what? I'm about to have something really profound come out of my mouth. I wonder if whether or not you realize it, maybe you do and you're very in tune, and I'm just telling you, I already know. I wonder if subconsciously, like Roy's efforts and the way that he acted as a stepdad have played a subconscious role in how you have showed up as a stepmom.
Totally. I mean, what's interesting is because I'll tell you what he showed me more than with being a step parent.
Okay.
He loved my mom so well, so fiercely, so deeply. Like they were best friends, like I see in myself and Mike. And I saw that. I saw her get to live this whole new life with him in a completely different way with a completely different type of person. And the way that she flourished and the way that he just loved her was so healing for me and so beautiful to watch. And again, I think it really helped me. He actually, when Mike and I had like any issues at the very beginning, because I was still in this weird space all that time frame, and then Mike like went to lunch when I was broken up and like was like being a brat and not talking to Mike for like a week. And then like he just like poured into him as well. So yes, it absolutely helped me see who I want to be as a stepmom, but I think it really affected my marriage and like the way that we are and the way that I was able to receive love in a different way, watching my mom be able to have that in her life.
Mm. Yeah. And just, I think there's really something understated, again, when it comes to, male role models and men, we immediately go towards fathers, right? Grandfathers. And, my grandfather died in 2019 and he was very much like the father figure. My dad is no longer in my life. He walked away when I was 26. And so, what God showed me at that time was just all the men that were already around me that I didn't even consider, right? Because they
Mm.
didn't have the title that connected to me.
Uh-huh.
But yet opening my eyes and watching them and getting to experience love as they loved their children, they loved their wives, and that was so profound in my business. I was 24, came from
Mhm.
3 divorces, broken home, single
Right.
mom syndrome, and to get to see behind the scenes of like what it was like to love each other and to from a father to stay to
Mhm.
to take care, to provide, to be what like his wife needed, but that made sense for them. And I saw time and time again, because of having all these beautiful relationships, because of our business, that like I got the inside scoop on what it looks like. I remember Kelly Hudson is the best piece of advice she ever gave to me. It has nothing to do with our business. She was
Love
like, I love Kelly. She's literally like ride or die. Like Kelly is the like ride or die, saved my life, really saved my life. And so, when she brought me into the business, I
it.
had no idea that like I was also going to be, I got invited to her son's wedding because I hired him at Old Navy. Like it was just so many layers. And one of
Yeah.
the best pieces of advice she gave to me was, and I have never had a serious boyfriend or, had a long-term relationship. So she was just saying this to say it. And her pastor had shared with her and Matt when they first got married, like, hey, like you came first. Like it's really important that you just take the time
Mhm.
while he's young, like 15 minutes, let him play on the rug by himself. And then 15, they keep going, 15, 30 minutes and an hour. And that grew to, date nights and vacations. To this day, they are the couple that I look at and how they model making time for themselves and time for
Yeah.
their marriage. And guess what? They have a really great relationship with their
Yeah.
sons as a result of that. But Matt is one of the most profound men in my life that he's not a dad to me. He's not a father to me, but in formative years, I got to watch him just live out and model like you're
Yeah.
saying about Roy. And there were so many other men that did that for me. And we so often think that men that are going to be there are the ones that are directly connected to our lineage. And if we just open up our eyes, there's so many more out there because
Mhm.
because the hate men culture is real because there's pain. It doesn't mean that it's factual. It just means
Mhm.
that it's real. And so I think that for anyone out there that has just this pain or this anger with a man in your life or, daddy issues, because I'm a product of that, open
Mhm.
your eyes to what other men are around you that are loving, that are kind, that are strong, that are patient, that are all the things that maybe you didn't have. And I just love that Roy was that for you and played such
Mhm.
a formative role in your life, even though you didn't like of course,
Yeah.
the good
No,
ones go
it's
kicking
amazing.
and screaming. You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
no, no, it's great. I am so grateful that like I said, I was able to rectify that while he was
yeah,
like we had an amazing relationship before he passed. And same with my mom, because I gave her a lot of a really hard time too in that. Never when I was younger, we were like fine and close.
yeah,
It was that mid-20s, I'm figuring out my life, what's happening. I mean, my dad has been in and out of my life in certain ways, but like it was just this thing where I'm grateful that I got to come through this dark space and be able to acknowledge to him and my mother what a blessing they were and apologize. And like, not that they didn't hold anything against me. They love me anyway, but I'm grateful that I got to do that and
mhm,
to have that space. And Mike has also shown me just so much what a positive experience you can have, like you said, with a male in whatever capacity that is, where it's someone that's supportive and loving and putting you first and not putting their needs above yours
yeah,
in that situation.
yeah. It's so challenging. And one of the things I'm so passionate about, I is just being able to help women who were where I was, I
Mhm.
coined the phrase, which I probably should trademark it, from hoe to hope, like I looked for love in all the wrong beds and it wasn't there. Definitely wasn't there. Right. But it's very funny. See, people, when I say that, people are not sure. Like, is she being
I think it's
funny?
hysterical.
I think it's hilarious, right?
I totally get it.
Because it's a really hard thing to talk about for a lot of people. And when
Yeah.
you say something like from hoe to hope, they're like, oh, wait. And then like the walls come down and they're
Yeah.
so much more willing to talk about those hard things because whether or not you admit it, like I was selling myself. I sold my soul because I thought that's how you looked for love. I wasn't, I was not in prostitution or anything like that. That's not what I mean.
I know.
just to make it clear, the audience knows that
Sure.
it was my soul, right?
That's,
Because
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
I didn't know how to find love because that wasn't like, there's a lot of things that my dad gave me that I'm grateful for. I love my last name. I have no, like, I am Brittany Wheeler. That is an identity. My nickname in college was Hot Wheels. I don't carry that name around with shame or anything like that. But there's a lot of things that he did not do because he
Mhm.
is hurt and broken and
I
needs
can relate to
healing,
that.
right? And so, because of that, I never just had a clear idea, right, of what I should be looking for or what it looks like. And so I just am so grateful that the trajectory of the plan for my life was to get in front of those people because I get to
Mhm.
now be a voice for women to be
Mhm.
like, hey, yes, there's pain and you've been hurt, but I
Mhm.
promise you there are good men around you. There is healing that can come from this if you're willing, and that there is wholeness that can come even if, you don't know how to find it. And it, yeah.
What I was going to say is I think it's important. I don't know what like most of your listeners are, but growing up extremely religious, I think a lot of that, and this like might be contradictory to what you're saying, but I think a lot of times we were taught I was anyway, I'll just speak for myself, taught as a young woman that you have to like respect this authority and that you have to have somebody telling you what to do and how to live and do whatever. And I put a lot of faith and a lot of trust in mainly men because that's what that structure was set up for. And was to be like, okay, this is your leader or your pastor or your whatever, and you need to do kind of follow along in these ways, and got burned in a bunch of different ways by that. And so for me, I really had to be like, okay, there are people that you can trust. It doesn't have to come under this guise of Christianity even or of spirituality. Like people are good and messed up no matter what their like title is or their background is. And so having that discernment for myself, but it's like what I said in the beginning, you have to trust yourself. Just because somebody presents themselves as kind and endearing or has a position of power does not mean that that's a person you need to listen to. Like you have to learn to trust your gut.
Yeah.
And to know that like the knowing inside yourself is the right thing, even if we ignore it sometimes, that's always the right thing. It's not about having somebody tell you what to do or you have to have this guidance. It's like, yeah, you can take these bits and pieces of what they say, but in your gut, God, spirit, whatever it is that you believe in is speaking to you directly because you are a being of this universe and that is the way it works.
Yeah.
And so when you know in your gut that what someone is telling you isn't really aligning and isn't really doing it, like breaking that people pleasing was so, so hard for me. And once I was able to do that, and that doesn't mean I don't still fall into that because I do.
Yeah.
Once I was able to acknowledge it, I'm like, okay, like I know what's best for me.
Yeah.
I don't need to look for this validation and this love from other people. I've got it here.
Yeah.
Like that's what has to come out.
Yeah. And it's interesting how, authority, like, it just comes differently for different people, right? And whose opinions matter, right? For
Mhm,
you, it was your experience in the church.
mhm,
For me, it was friendships and different things. And it's like you're saying, it's one of those things. Like I I learned really recently, and I think this is something that we have a lot to learning to do as a culture, especially those that are Christians, is the reminder that like we are all broken
mhm,
and that no one is perfect.
mhm,
And when you do that, you you automatically like strip people in your mind of this like expectation, this highlight, this potential
mhm,
podium style, right? To
mhm,
understand like, oh, okay, they are just human. They're going to make mistakes. They're not, right? But we give people a title, we give them a platform, and
mhm,
then we assume that they're going to stay in that space and accept
mhm,
being actually no, they could make a mistake. They are human. And I think that on the other side of that, there's been a lot of people that have had power and have had authority that lost themselves along the
mhm,
way and could not even admit that like, hey, like this isn't
mhm,
the way. And
mhm,
you know, I just for so many women in particular, it is trusting yourself. It's having a guided few that are like just people that you can go to. And just especially when it comes to men, I like I like you're saying, I just put a lot of stock into, titles or authority or what
Mhm,
someone said instead of trusting that. And
mhm.
and also, side tangent, men also do a really good job because they're broken and they're hurt of making it seem like we are wrong or we are the problem. But, I think there's also just a part of just having
Yeah.
that center, literally for me, I could not be in the season of life without God because everybody else around me is broken and I love them and all their opinions are amazing. But I just need someone that's going to be straight, tell it to me how it is. So I can
Mhm.
just move on with my day because there's so many things that are convoluted. And particularly when it comes to, just whether it is healing of yourself, right? Like I always say that my dad, and there's a lot of talk around that I had around spiritual tethers. We have spiritual tethers to our parents and things like that. And that's why we have such an emotional connection and why we have potentially harmful and toxic connections to them.
Mhm.
When I started 2 years after I started my business and I started to do things differently and take changes, my spiritual tether towards my father changed to where the
Mhm.
authority that he carried over my life, because he was my dad, the title that he carried no longer mattered because all of a sudden, you could feel I look back and I think of the distance that was being created because I was exceeding him or I wasn't really seeking his advice or I wasn't doing the things because there was this tether that he had, and I don't think he necessarily did everything intentionally to hurt. He
Yeah,
didn't
yeah, yeah.
know it, right? But that connection can cause those issues too. And so, I think having that sense of understanding of who the person is, and again, for me, if my earthly father did not leave my life, I would not have the relationship with God that I had because my
Mm.
connection to my father and the authority that my father had in my life played such a role. It didn't mean that I
Mhm.
didn't believe in God because I did,
Yeah.
but my dad was my best friend and all these things. I couldn't see the toxic. I couldn't see the
Mm.
problems, right? I was definitely a daddy's girl. And so I don't know who needs to hear that, whether it's a relationship, a parent or whatever. When you, even when it comes to your own family, can see that they are human, they are broken, whether they carry the dad title, understanding within their own authority, that was huge for me. That changed so much healing.
I think it's important to also note that, that's gonna continue to change as you get older in different ways, and, like, when I think about what you're saying about how, you okay, now this relationship with God is, what's healing you, obviously, and helping you do this. It's like, I can acknowledge that my father is a broken human because everybody is, and I can acknowledge that, he did things as a byproduct of the way that he was raised and da 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 da, right? And I can accept that of him, but I can also still not forgive him for things that he's not taking accountability for. And that's been really eye-opening for me lately because as he kind of inserts himself in my life in these little ways over the past couple years, it's always on his terms and it's always like a some sort of judgment about me and my life or whatever. And I just have to be like, that's not me. And I can acknowledge what he's doing, but he is not, or I can it's okay. He's broken. He's this, but he's not taking accountability.
Yeah.
I'm off the hook
Yeah.
for any kind of thing that goes on moving forward. And that was huge for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not about what I'm doing or not doing to this relationship. It's,
No,
this
and
is
he's no
is what,
longer an active contributor. That's the other thing too, right? And I've had this recent experience in my life where I had a recent, literally days experience where just it was with a friend, and this is kind of how I feel with what you're sharing. And I found myself getting caught up in things that I was trying to help. I was trying to, you know, be Brittany, support, guide,
Mhm.
lead. And for me, I'm very aware of spiritual warfare. So I could feel that the enemy was involved in this, and I still don't know why. But there was a lot of things where nothing could say was going to be
Mhm.
right. Nothing
Mhm.
that I did was going to be right
Yep.
because it had a lot to do with projection. It had a lot to do with the trauma, the pain that was going on, and all those things. And so, what was really hard for me to do was, and this is something that I had done. I talked with my roommate about. And just, I had to recognize that for me in this moment, like regardless, because I knew I didn't do anything wrong. I knew that like I loved well, I did right. But for
Mhm.
whatever reason, that person was needing forgiveness to
Mm.
just be able to decrease the walls. And when I tell you, Kendall, I prayed more than I've ever prayed in 1 second of like, I need to pray so hard right now because it is not it. I didn't do anything wrong. It's not in me to even say
Mhm.
I'm sorry. And I will say, I didn't say I'm sorry. Sorry is an emotional connection that you make that you did something wrong.
Mhm.
However, I offered compassion and I offered an apology for her feelings, for the feelings that were happening. And it was truly not because I took anything on. Like this was not me and my being. But I thought, okay, if I can be a part of that healing, if I can be a part of maybe not making it worse. And again, like this is not necessarily at all related to your dad because that's a whole different
Oh,
story.
yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. But for me, it was like, okay, it, honestly, I said it. I was like, wow, this is like a hashtag Jesus moment
Mhm.
because there's definitely not the place to be like, if I look around, I didn't need to say, I apologize, but I recognized for her and her healing,
Mhm.
she needed that. And
Mhm.
so, I kind of like that's just kind of what came to mind as you were wrestling with that of like as
Yeah.
your dad coming in and trying to re-enter. He has no authority over your life and he has no like that spiritual tether that's disconnected. But then
Mhm.
it's also like at what point for you are you like, okay, like I'm not even engaging, I'm not even gonna be a part of that. And also just like if that's what he needs to be like, okay, cool. I don't know. Like and who knows where this is going to play out with my friend.
Yeah.
But I just found that for me, there was no forgiveness needed for what I did because I
Yeah.
didn't do anything. But for whatever reason,
Yeah.
like being able to be apologetic in that moment
Mhm.
seemed fine. And again, I
Yeah.
don't I don't even know if that has anything in relation to what you're experiencing with your dad. In this last episode I was talking about, like, I made a vow that I would not repeat what my parents did with their own
Mhm.
siblings, which was choose
Mm.
other people and the relationships and the dynamics are chaotic. I was like, "No."
Yeah.
Like, my sisters, Katie, Sarah, if we have something going on, it's between us, that's fine. But I'm not gonna let anything that my parents did or did not do or
Yep.
anybody on the outside and the toxicity that is family impact our relationship. And so
Mhm.
that's challenging. Do people think that I'm crazy that I wouldn't want to have my father back? Yeah, there's probably a lot of people that do. But that's
They're not in your position though. That they can't.
and it doesn't
Mhm.
really matter, right? Like it's
Yeah.
it's irrelevant. But I think to the point of, you have to decide in a whole place. I wouldn't make this decision while you're still healing or while and just whoever's listening, while you're still healing.
Yeah.
Wait until you feel like you are a degree separated from that healing, that you can reflect and be like, okay, if this person comes back in, would I want them in my life? And if you don't,
Mhm.
that's okay for all the right reasons, right? All the
Yeah.
decisions that make sense.
Yeah. I completely agree. You gotta like release that hold of just because you're blood related to somebody doesn't mean that they have to be in your life.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not a thing.
No.
You can't.
Let's lighten up the mood just a little bit since we went in real deep, real hard, real
Yeah.
quick, which was amazing.
Yeah.
I love that we go there because
Yeah. Me too.
these kind of conversations when people are willing to have them is what's going to change people's lives, right?
Mhm.
Like that's really it. Like we could talk about a lot of lighthearted things, but
Yeah, but I agree.
willing to get into some stuff is good too.
Yeah.
I want to know, especially now that like, we've heard a lot of your heart and your past and what your identities were and what you were dreaming of then. Like, what are you dreaming of now? What are you excited? What does this version of Kendall look like?
I am really excited. I'm in like a new season of my network marketing business and I'm really excited about it. I feel like I did when I first started. The energy and the excitement around it and the people building is really been my focus. It's been amazing because that's always the part that I've loved the most is that connection with people. So blowing that up to like the nth degree is my goal. I do this podcast with my husband and a couple friends of ours, and I love it. It's so fun. It's like a completely separate thing, a completely different direction. But my husband's a stand-up comedian, and so obviously life is always fun and funny. Digging into the travel more with all of that is really good and just helping my kids like be adults. Our oldest son and his girlfriend just moved into a new apartment. Our younger son graduated college in December. He's looking for jobs. So just really living in this part of life where it's new, it's exciting, and I'm like envisioning and planning and manifesting all of the big things because I know it's going to be something that maybe I don't even understand yet.
Yeah.
But like there's something in my heart that's like this next chapter is going to be explosive in a good way.
Yeah.
And so I'm really looking forward to that.
Love that. I love it. And you deserve it. And I know that like,
Thank you.
people need to also know that like these seasons come because the past season was a lot of growing, was a lot of shedding, was a lot of refining, right? And I can relate to that as well. And so,
Mhm.
you have the ebbs and flows of life because as you're willing to grow, not everybody's going to experience that, but as
Yeah.
you're willing to grow, you get to those crossroads again where it's okay,
Yeah.
what am I choosing? What am I dropping? What am I releasing? What am I taking on? Right. And I
Mhm.
feel like you've just come out of that season and you're entering in and again, like as life is transitioning and things are happening and it's exciting because it's a newness of relationships, but it's also a newness of business. And I know that our business is doing a great job of igniting that within us
Mhm.
because there's just something so divine happening. I feel that is like, it doesn't even make sense. And
I
so
agree with
it
you.
doesn't even
It's
make sense.
palpable. It's palpable, but it's unexplainable.
Yeah. Like,
And that's
why us? Why this? Why it literally like,
I
you know,
I don't know what I don't know, but I know it's huge.
yeah.
I can feel it in my gut.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And I will say to people sometimes, I'm like, I've been in the industry for a long time in many businesses, and there's something about our company that it is definitively woven. Like it just is.
Mhm.
There's something where the men and women that are making decisions, the men and women that come alongside
Mhm.
are being guided and just built up and like in a way that you don't see in other places. And so,
Yeah.
and that is top leadership down, right? And I know you get to experience that more necessarily than I do yet. But
Yeah.
it's powerful, right? It's
Mhm.
powerful. So I'm excited for you and excited just to be alongside and excited for the podcast because I feel like such an element of your personality and your heart.
It's
And
so fun. It's so fun. I mean, it is out there. It's like we read stories from Reddit
yeah, what
and
is the name? Tell us more about it so people can go follow and experience you.
it's called Bad Potato Salad. And we do swear and talk about things that are a little controversial just so people know.
Yeah.
But basically, my husband and I, Mike Travers, and Derek Knopfsnyder and his wife Alana, my husband and Derek are comedians. They've been friends for 10 years. Like they've been traveling all over the country together doing comedy. We decided to do this podcast where his wife and I read stories to them from the internet and they blind react. And then we get into discussions and it's really, really fun. And it's just been such a cool creative outlet for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
Really fun thing for us to work on together. And as they tour more with comedy, we have plans to do live shows and things like that. So
So cool.
it's like I'm touring in a whole different way now. It wasn't
Yeah.
friends, now it's comedians.
Well, here's the thing, like, if you obviously, we can't even go there because you wouldn't have such a strong business, but if you stayed touring, like, you wouldn't have created space for your own vision, right? You were building other visions,
Yep.
and now
Yep.
you and Mike and Derek and his wife are all creating a vision for yourself. That would
Yep.
never have happened
Mhm.
had you just kept hustling for someone else.
Mhm. You're totally right. You're
So
totally right.
cool. And I've heard clips and I've seen clips and it's just so fun. And and again, I watch it because I support you. And I love Mike. I think he's great. And so Matt, you guys need to follow the podcast, if you don't already. And they're more advanced than the Brittany Wheeler show, but they have a lot of content on YouTube and things.
I have nothing to do with that. That's all Derek. I do a lot of I find stories
Okay.
and edit them together. Mike edits our reels and videos, and Derek is the one that does everything for like YouTube and all this. Like I have no idea. He'll call every day with updates about things. And I'm like, you're just saying numbers to me.
Yes.
Like,
I got no idea.
is it good or is it bad? Okay, it's good. Great. That's all I need to know.
That's outside my pay grade. Okay, cool. Great. Awesome. I'll see you next week in recording. So fun. And again, I think it's also so sweet and special, especially because in a sense you're becoming empty nesters. And so to have this
Yeah,
thing that's
totally.
yours that you can have more time to dedicate, that's just it's just sweet, right? Sweet and
Really.
special. And also like all of your friends are at an age where like we love to go to comedy and like love to do those things. So it's another way that people can get to experience you, be involved with your husband. Again, it's all playing out the way that it was supposed to. And
It really is. It really is so fun. He had a bunch of shows in Pittsburgh a few weeks ago. We live in Pittsburgh, and there was 5 shows, and I had different groups of people at each show, and it is so fun. That's like fills my energy social cup, and I love watching him perform and do amazing. He's always been my number one supporter in everything that I do, and I absolutely just adore watching him be creative and funny and do well on stage. It's such a fun experience.
I love that. Is he now? He's a professional comedian. So does he also cover quality dad jokes, or is he beyond that? Like, what is his level?
He's never been a dad joke guy. He's funny all the time.
Got it. Yeah.
He just is.
Yeah.
For the beginning of his career, he used to like play the guitar and write funny songs. When we first started dating, he wrote me a song, and he's written me a few since then, and they're more sweet, but also very funny. And so he started that way, and now he does mainly stand up, but he kind of does both. And I think it's just been, dad jokes are not his thing. He does a lot of not safe for work jokes.
Yeah.
And I have to tell people, like, nothing he says about me is true. So
yeah, a good stand-up comedian also knows how to keep his marriage intact, right? And that's
I don't mind
talk about it.
No, I don't mind anything he says, but it's comedy. You elaborate. It's not all like exact. It might be like taken from this one piece of thing. So sometimes at the end of shows, people will be like, "Is that?" I'm like, "Just no, none of it's true."
It's just a stand-up moment. Like it's not anything. Oh my gosh,
it's entertainment.
Exactly. And also, there's this rise in stand-up comedy that's happening as well, of like just small independent, local spots too. And like obviously you have like main stage performances and things and stadiums, but especially aligning with the sober community and like the rise of the non-alcoholic movement. I think also like stand-up is also rising because it is a place that a lot of the places that's alcohol is not the focus, right? The comedy.
Yeah, you're totally right. And I've seen a lot of comedians struggle with addiction in a bunch of different ways because of the lifestyle sort of sets up. And I've seen a lot of them transition into being sober and having just these whole new lives that way.
Yeah. So, and just, a lot of healing, and I went to a show recently and they're just fun. And if you know the people, you want to go and support them.
It's a great time.
It's a great
time.
Such a great time. So last question, we'll get into lifestyle questions, is not that you haven't already given enough, because you've given so much today. I'm just like, I know that so many women and men are going to hear this and be like, oh my gosh, this girl's amazing.
I hope it's helpful.
They really will. And, but I want to just like, kind of the last thing that's coming to you is like, what is a piece of advice you would give those women who are in the throes of the discovery? And I mean, I feel like you're always discovering. So if there's a certain part of your life you feel like you want to kind of hone in on, that's cool. But like, what advice would you give?
I know I've said the phrase, I trust your gut a bunch, but I really think what it comes down to is look at your life retrospectively and think about why you are where you are right now. And was it mainly because you thought you had to do X, Y, and Z, and here's where you are, so now you're struggling and you don't know where to go next? Or is it because you just like kind of did whatever? But like, I think women need to understand, especially in this day and age and climate, that just because you've always learned something one way or done something one way doesn't mean that is the answer or the truth. And really knowing that you have this internal thing in you, and I would argue that it's women more than men. Absolutely. I think that is a divine thing, that we have this intuition for a reason. And I really think we've been conditioned to push it down and shut it out. And I really want women to know that you do not have to stay stuck in a place that you are not thriving and happy. It doesn't mean it's easy. Nothing is easy. Nothing is going to be simple. But like, I see far too many people stay stuck in situations, relationships, jobs, whatever, because they think that they have to, and they're scared of what's on the other side of it. And I just know that everything happens on the outside of your comfort zone. And everything happens when you make that leap of faith and you take that step into the unknown. Like, what's the saying? Like, take the step, the staircase will appear, or whatever. And I know that's the hardest thing to do. And if you have nobody around you supporting you in that way, find a community that will do that for you, whether it's in church or in a business or in whatever, but like find a community that's going to support you and uplift you no matter what you do, because you have so much more power than you are being led to believe. And you have so much more power than you are letting out, because I was told my whole life to like that I'm too much and to dim it down and to hide my light. And I'm like, F that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
no, I am done. I'm done playing small because I know I'm here for a reason. I still have breath in my lungs. I am here to make a difference and do something different. That's what I have to do. And so I would just encourage you to follow that fire and that passion that you're feeling and do the thing that feels hard, and own your own self and what that looks like for you.
Gosh, guys, Kendyll's starting a podcast tomorrow. That's what's happening, okay? Brittany Miller Show is getting shut down. I don't exist anymore. Kendyll's coming in. It's like a Kelly and Michael Regis, Kathy Lee moment. We'll just swap them out, whoever it is. And like, incredible. Like,
Thank
1000% incredible. And what I will add on to that, if you're on the other side, so we're literally like, I'm so excited to continue a friendship with you because I'm like, girl, preach, preach, preach. Like, so much of what you've shared is like literally what I've lived. And it's like, you talk too much, you're too loud, you're too outgoing, you're too emotional, whatever, right? And what I'm finding now in this space is, okay, you are meant to help the woman you once were. And so now that I've come to this sense of myself of like, no, I'm not too much. I'm literally exactly the way that God made me. My light shines bright on others, not through others, not around, on others. And what does that mean? Others get to be seen and heard and felt. And so if you're on the other side of, someone's like, girls, I get you. Okay, then go find the woman that needs you, that you need it, right? Because there's so many of us out there that are just not sure. We're scared to move. We're scared because we're being belittled by whatever that is in our life. And now that I'm on the other side of that, I'm like, whatever these things are, binoculars. I'm like out there looking for those women because I know that it's not true. And whatever they need to not only break out of that, but also take the walk towards growth and healing within that. I am still the bright and shiny, vibrant person. I am no longer an extroverted extrovert. I'm now an introverted extrovert. I love my quiet time. I love to be alone. So there's, and you have to, right? You have to have that in order. Like, I don't even know how I ran my life the way I used to, because obviously I wasn't growing, so there was no time for quiet time. Because like, it's just not sustainable, right? In order to pour out the way that you and I pour out and the way that we love people and just want to be bright and just give, it needs to be reset, and we need to find that source. So yeah, I think if you're on the other end of what, Kendyll's saying, and you have found peace and you feel confident in the light that you give, find the woman that needs to know that she's not crazy. Maybe she's first. And also maybe she just needs to see someone else do it to walk alongside, Not everybody is like you and I, where we don't see a path and we just create one. Most women are not like that. And so we just have to also just think about who can we be for that person that's needs to find a way behind us. So
yeah, totally.
And incredible. Like, I'm going to have to send you the clip. You were just like on fire, like floating in the screen. Like, it was great. You were just like next level. It was like, I was like, all right, this is awesome. It's awesome. So we'll transition to lifestyle questions real quick. But I just want to say thank you for this.
I appreciate it. It's been really fun.
I hope you had a great time. You've lit up.
I did. I feel like we could do this for hours.
Hours. All right. This will be part 1. We'll get a part 2, part 3. We'll just do different topics. So that way, like, we can really hone in.
I'm in.
I definitely obviously I knew this was going to be amazing, but you just blown it away, and
Thank
just
you.
tapping into so much today that I know is going to make an impact with these episodes. And it's such a legacy moment, I feel, with this show is like, long after I'm gone, or long after, like, someone's going to be like, yeah, my great grandmother and like her friend Kendyll, they talk about this thing. Like, I just love thinking about how is this going to be here, right? Like, long after we're gone. You know,
Yeah.
what does that legacy look like? And this kind of work, podcasting in general, is just a way to
Mhm.
do that. It's a really cool way to, reach people wherever they need to be reached. And for this show in particular, this show is not for Christians. Like, it isn't. That's not my calling.
Yeah.
That's not where I'm meant to be. I'm meant to be around the people that don't know Christ, and
Yeah.
love them well. And hopefully, just by them getting to see me, they can hopefully experience their own. But I think a lot of people will come on the show and they'll be like, you know, oh, like, is this for, Christians? I'm like, nope, it's for anybody. Like, come on in,
Yeah.
because that's not who I am, right? Like, God is not going to then take something that's not you and make you work with something that's not yourself. And I think
Mhm.
that's part of what you're saying too, of like, it should feel good. It should feel
Mhm.
peace and
Yeah.
easy that, like, yeah, I'm the Christian that swears. I'm the girl that's saucy from hoe to hope. I talk about how I found love
Yeah.
in all the wrong beds.
Yeah.
That doesn't really fit in these
No,
four
and
walls.
I think it's really refreshing, honestly, for you to be so vocal about just being completely yourself. I think for so long, I mean, in a lot of areas of my life, but especially growing up in the church, like you think you have to like be in this little box, but like that's not what God is actually calling you to do. That's the
No.
reason that we're all weird and broken and whatever. Like that's you got to use like the mess for the message. Like that's the
Yeah,
point.
absolutely. And like to like sneak back in what we're saying about authority is like, when you stop thinking that men or women have authority and you know who your authority is and you can
Mhm.
easily step over them, you're going to see, like, that's the problem. That is what is happening in Western Christianity as a whole, is that we have put so much stake in men and women and they let us down. They are
Uh-huh.
teaching and stewarding literally what doesn't exist
Yep.
within the Bible. Right. And so that is what I have uncovered is like, oh, that's
Mhm.
not it. That's not it.
Mhm.
I was baptized
Mhm.
Catholic. That's not it. Like, and so
Mhm.
to go and to get closer, right? To remove, I don't know what's going on with my hands, don't mind me here, but to remove, I'm very animated, but to move the humans aside, if you will, and to be like, okay, this is what it is. And so
Mhm.
I think so many people in the form of people pleasing are waiting for those people in authority in the church to give them that permission. When the
Mhm.
reality is that God already gave it to him. He'll give it to you today. He'll give it to you tomorrow. He will talk to you in the shower, on the toilet. It doesn't matter. But we put humans in between us and God. And then we wonder why we're nuts. We wonder why we're
Mhm.
crazy, right?
Yep.
So in that sense of authority and power, when you clear out the way from those that you could be pleasing or that are not stewarding it well or whatever that is, like it's, and again, like I am Brittany Wheeler. I am all the things I was, all the things I'm going to be, all the things that I was are what makes me a badass human now. And they'll continue to be. And that's
Mhm.
because God says, not my
Yep.
pastor,
Yep.
not my friends, like, right? Like, so
Yep.
it's that connection of gut and your Holy Spirit, your power, whatever that is, that when you remove the noise, you find that inner self that like is unstoppable.
Mhm.
Unstoppable.
I
Okay.
love.
Lifestyle questions. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. What is your favorite coffee shop or drink spot? And what's your go-to order?
Okay. I don't drink coffee anymore.
That's fine.
Um, I will say in Pittsburgh,
Mhm.
there's a place called Carnegie Coffee Company.
Okay.
We do meetings there once a month. I love it there.
Okay.
It's a local place. They're incredible. I drink coffee sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm just saying I don't do it every day.
Yeah.
They have amazing stuff. It's so great. I love going there, and I usually get like a chai latte
Mm-hmm. Easy.
or just a chai tea. I love chai. But I'm a tequila girl, so like I
That's also, I was like, what don't we have in common? Because that was like
okay.
tequila, like
I'm like if I'm allowed to talk about that, that's my
Bloody
thing.
Marias are always better than Bloody Mary. So
Let's go. Yeah. You're totally right. There's a Gordo's is a really good tequila taco place up the street from our
I
house.
love it. Tequila and
So good.
tacos, like that's it. Like
My
that's it.
fave.
Gosh,
That's
yeah.
my love language.
Wine and tequila were my top two, and I love it. So when we get together, we'll get margs. I'll have the non-alcoholic version. You'll have the full
Totally.
alcoholic version.
Totally.
It'll be amazing.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because our business is making it harder because we keep coming out with really great things that like you don't necessarily need coffee. Now we have matcha, and I'm like, what is going on? It's so amazing.
I honestly, since I did my first like 30 days to healthy living program through our business, years ago. I used to drink pots of coffee a day, especially when I was touring with the band. It doesn't do it for me anymore. It makes me sick and anxious and crazy. And there's like a whole lot of other reasons I can talk about it. But
Another podcast, part 2.
Energy fizz sticks, matcha. I'm good to go.
So good. Yeah, the matcha is is insane. It's
wild.
It's wild.
It's wild how good it is. It's wild. I don't even like matcha. I love ours so much.
And I kind of become a snob too. I'm like, ooh, is this place going to be nearly as good as ours if I get it out with a friend? And I'm like, probably not. I'll just get it.
No, my kids have honestly in the past month been like, I've gotten 3 different matchas from 3 different places and none of them are as good as this. And I'm like, take your packet with you.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Just make sure, let me know when you're out of stock. We'll get you more.
Yeah.
They're in their 20s. You're like, okay, we're going to still give it to you. It'll be great.
Yeah, they still don't purchase it, but I can buy it and they will use it.
As a good mom, you're doing the right thing.
Exactly.
And I love hearing that with moms where it's like, okay, like one kid took the last fizz or the last Mind Health. It is. I can't imagine. I'm gonna have to prepare myself because I like what I like and I like to know it's in stock. And you probably have had experiences where someone took the last bag of protein and never told you. And
nope, they know better. Nope,
you train them well, girl.
They know better.
Wow, that's also a tip for anybody that's in our business. Train your kids. Kendyll says it here.
Train the kids.
Train the kids. We're not taking last of anything. So good.
No.
What is a book that you've read multiple times that you think someone should read too?
Okay, this is funny because I was thinking about this today and I have an incredible bookshelf of books. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go find it because then I could show it to you actually and then pull out some quotes from it or something. I give away my really good books. Even though I write in them, I underline them, they are marked up. But I have given this book away so many times that I don't currently have a copy of it. But it's called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. I've read it more than once. I love it. I think it is an incredible book and it really helped me with relationships, kind of going back to what you said about your friend, the sort of okay, if I get in a fight with Mike, it's not like, well, he did this and I did this. It's take 100% responsibility, 100% responsibility. It frees up all this stuff. And I'm not going to do it service because like I said, I couldn't find it to look at the quotes, but it is an incredible book and taught me so much about relationships.
That sounds amazing. I'll need to write it down.
I love it. I highly recommend it. I need to order another copy now.
You're welcome. That's what the Brittany Wheeler Show did for you. Reminded you that you need to have one so you can give it away again.
Yeah.
So maybe just get 2 because that way you have a backup copy.
Good point. Have a backup.
That's awesome. Where can people listen to the podcast?
We're on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube. Bad Potato Salad. We have an Instagram account too. That's all the things, right?
I love it. Yeah. And where can they find you if they have questions or people really connect to your story?
Mainly Instagram. I'm on Instagram at Kendyll Travers, Kendyll.
Love it.
Travers. People often spell my name wrong, but that's okay. And I'm mainly hanging out on Instagram.
Love it.
That's my spot.
You just gotta know what works for you. I do the TikTok because I need to, but it's not because I literally don't even go on it. I just post twice a week, and then I don't. Well, that's TikTok. It's
better than the alternative, which is that you're on it all the time and not posting, which is what I tend to do. I post a little bit on TikTok, but not very often.
Yeah, I'm not. I will put it in the show notes so that people can find it and follow. And I'm excited to watch more of the episodes and listen to your podcast and just excited for what's going to come for that. And it's going to be awesome. You guys, thank you for listening. This was next level conversation. We went to places that I kind of blacked out and I was just talking and I was like, oh my gosh, where am I? So you guys get to receive that. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, wherever you find us. You're watching us on YouTube, subscribe because why not? This is awesome. It's working. And, you can share these episodes with other people. Follow Bad Potato Salad. As always, do good things, make me proud, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.